Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 350 of Super Switchheads, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe, and oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have some very special guests joining on the show this week. Please welcome back to the show our good friend Garrett Buss, and also please, for the very first time, welcome to the show the wonderful Tris Valbuena. How's it going, Tris?
Ahoy, it's going well. I'm excited to be here.
Of course, very excited to have you too. You may know Tris. I know currently you contribute to some IGN articles and guides. You are a regular on Game Explain for a long time. You have a wonderful YouTube channel. So excited to talk to you and you as well, Garrett. This week, all about Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. Oh my God. Spoiler alert, I don't know the last time I got this sucked into a video game. It's been a very, very long time, but I have been having so much fun with the game. We're going to be talking all about our impressions of the game, what makes this game tick, and if there's any possible way we could break the addiction. Before that, we also have lots of news and rumors in the world of Nintendo and beyond. There's been a lot of movie-related news this past week. CinemaCon happened. We'll be going over some of that. Xbox is having some big potential shakeups within the gaming division at Microsoft. We'll be getting into some of that based on some of the news we have reported on before. And then also Animal Crossing has turned 25. We'll look back on the series and the way that it has informed modern Nintendo. But before we get into all of that, how are we doing? How was this past week? Garrett, let's start with you. How are you doing this past week?
Two thumbs way up. I did kind of an eventful past 2 days for me. On what day is today? Today is Monday. So on Saturday, I did the opening night of a play. I'm in a play called Padlock.
Very cool.
It is a comedy parody of the lawyer show Matlock.
All right.
And I play like an evil billionaire. It's very, very fun.
Yeah, sounds great.
Just did opening night on that yesterday, or on 2 days ago. And then yesterday was crazy. I live in Los Angeles, and I just joined the Volunteer Firewatch Lookout organization.
Okay.
And so at 5 o'clock in the morning, I hiked for 2 hours up Slide Mountain, and then was at the Firewatch Lookout for an 8-hour shift, and then hiked back down at 6 p.m. And it was awesome. It was very, very cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Long
really
day.
Cool. Yeah, it's like Firewatch in real life. We just did our Fire episode last week, and you were there in spirit.
That's right.
Well, that's great. I'm really glad. I wish I could make it to LA for the play. How long is the play running, by the way?
I think the last one's going to be the 26th.
Okay.
So probably quick turnaround for you to.
Potentially. If not by the time that's done, I am planning on visiting my niece and brother over in LA pretty soon. So either way, I'll be hitting you up when I'm in town. Tris, what about you? How was your past week?
My past week has pretty much just been Tomodachi Life, I gotta say. Since that game came out, that has been my main focus. I had the fun idea of making a bunch of little shorts based on any fun character-based memes I make, and then that proceeded to consume my entire weekend.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I'm hoping that I have more space than I thought on my SD card, because I already have at least like 120 like screenshots and videos that I've taken on that thing. And we'll talk about some of the sharing restrictions about that game later. But yeah, it is such a funny game. I've also been having a great time. I think it was, mostly a Tomodachi Life week for me as well. Mm-hmm. I think, I hung out with some friends, had a nice time. I actually had my friends Baylor and Ben over at my place, and I created them in Tomodachi Life while they sat there and watched. So that was sort of it's come to my home while I render ye. It was a very, very odd hang. But I think they had a good time. And I'm actually really proud of both of their me's. So I think that's turned out pretty well. Yeah, exactly, right? I think I've gotten quite a bit better over the years. Well, before we get into the news, I did want to give a couple of shout outs from last week's episode that we had on the show. We had P-Dix himself, Patrick Knisley, back on the show to join Jordan and I. And we did an episode all about fire in video games, working our way through the element system. We got a great comment from Krakow over on the YouTube saying, when I was a kid, circa 1995, I was getting really hyped for the release of Mario 64, so much so that I dreamed I was playing it. In the dream, I was running around in 3D, shooting fireballs at Goombas, and I woke up feeling even more hyped. Unfortunately, it turned out the flower power-up would not be in Mario 64, and I can't lie, I was pretty disappointed back then. You know what? Maybe that's true. I think that's the one blight on an absolute masterpiece 3D platforming game.
They had to wait 12 more years for that. Because that wasn't until Galaxy that it was in 3D.
That's such a good point. True. That's such a good point. And then however long to see it finally on the big screen as well.
Yeah, that's
but thank you very much, Krakow, for that. We also got a lot of great engagement over on our TikTok and YouTube shorts and Instagram reels and all that stuff. So if you would like to be shouted out on the podcast, please leave us a line. Great place to do that is in the YouTube comments. In the YouTube version, we do a video version of this podcast. Leave a comment down there. We'll be sure to shout you out next week. Hit us up over on social media. Any of those places, we'll have more information at the end of the show for all the places you can hit us up. But other than that, you know the drill. Leave a review, share the show with a friend. Word of mouth goes a really long way. We'd love to hear from you either way. With all that out of the way, I think I'm ready to get into the news. How we feeling? We feeling ready to go?
We love it.
All right, let's get this thing rolling, gang, because we are going to start with a rumor, and that is that Starfield has allegedly been rated for Nintendo Switch 2 in Taiwan. This is exciting for fans of Xbox gaming. I think we're finally starting to see Microsoft games come to the platform. This is something that has been promised for a while now, ever since the Activision merger. I think one of the things that was a requirement of that merger to go through is the fact that Activision games, namely Call of Duty, but I think other Microsoft games as well, come over to third-party platforms. That includes the Switch. So this is exciting. I played this game when it came out on Game Pass. I haven't really been an active Game Pass subscriber for a few years now. But at the time, I really enjoyed it. That said, I did put it down. I feel like this would be a much better game to play handheld and on the go, personally, as I think Bethesda games, they are often that way, basically. But Tris, did you ever play Starfield? Are you a Bethesda gamer?
I have not, but I've heard a lot about Starfield. I think what surprises me most about this, though, is with how forward Microsoft has been about, we want to bring more games to Nintendo's platforms. You would think that's something they would want to get ahead on before it potentially leaks and really jump into look, we're doing it. Yeah. Look, Starfield's going over to the Switch 2. That's not only a show of how powerful the Switch 2 is, but a show of the commitment of us actually doing it. And the fact that it leaks before they actually get to announce that makes it feel like they're maybe not quite as confident in promoting this happening as much. Maybe that's because of the big shakeup and all the executives that happened recently, but
sure,
it's just a little surprising. The energy about it's very different than it was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are finally seeing it, but it is strange that they didn't lead with that. Hopefully that just means that they're putting as much polish on this kind of release as they possibly can. But Garrett, what about you? Did you ever play Starfield?
I haven't played Starfield. I totally agree with Tris. I think it's very interesting because Bethesda is a company famous for announcing games way before they are close to getting delivered.
Where's Elder Scrolls 6, man? What the hell?
And this is the first time I can remember a Bethesda title or, a port or what have you getting leaked before they have the chance to go, okay, in 7 years, we're going to put this on Switch too. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely odd. I really thought that this was going to be announced alongside the PS5 version, right? But it was neither sight nor sound. And I think we heard, at least a year ago from Nate the Hate that this was coming. So at the very least, I'm glad to see some sort of confirmation from Taiwan, the ratings board over there. And hopefully this means that this game finds a little bit bigger of an audience, because I do think that Microsoft was expecting Starfield to be a little bit bigger of a hit than it actually ended up being.
We're also in that period right now where it's we're nearing middle of spring, and the ratings are going to start kind of piling in as we get closer to things like Summer Games Fest.
Right.
So we're going to see a bunch of things getting rated before they're properly announced. So this being rated now is exciting news, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear about it until they get on stage with it, so to say.
That's a great point. Yeah, that is fast approaching. And this definitely feels like a primo summer drop. Maybe we'll see it in a direct. coming up. But we'll go ahead and move on to our next bit of news. And this is also in the world of Microsoft. And the word going around right now, and this was kind of from the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, is that Xbox is having a big discussion about exclusivity right now. So as we were just talking about, Starfield coming to the Switch, and we have been seeing some other games come, I think that they are having kind of discussions just about what the future of Xbox is really going to look like. We've been talking for a long time, especially with the most recent trend of Microsoft kind of going third party, but keeping their systems and having their consoles still be a major part of their plans, that it kind of, to me, felt like very much like they were going the way of Sega and the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
But it really seems like Asha Sharma, the new head of Xbox, really has different ideas, and I think has been very much pushing the whole next system is going to be a PC hybrid story, and it seems like they are definitely in it to win it over at Microsoft. It also seems over there, according to Jez Corden and a couple other Microsoft podcasters, that Microsoft is reportedly easing some of the pressure on profits over at Xbox, because I know that's been a huge problem over the last few years, is that it's been like, hey, we need to make as much money as possible, which is kind of why we saw these games going to all these other platforms. So it seems like they're trying to keep their foot in the console race a little bit more than I was anticipating. But yeah, we'll have to see. And who knows where PC factors into all of that. We're hearing, that Sony is backing away from PC releases as well. But Garrett, I know you're a big time PC gamer, at least you play a lot of PC handheld games. What does this news from Microsoft say to you? And are you looking forward to the future of Microsoft gaming?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think the interesting thing here is whenever you hear a company as big as Microsoft, or, whether like leaks are like saying that there is less pressure to push after revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I view that initially as a good thing, because when you look at a lot of the larger, like kind of failures of game launches, 9 times out of 10, it is pushed by like a money hungry kind of mindset rather than they have 1,000 studios. They have so many incredibly talented people to make games. And I think if they're going for just revenue, that's how you get a Concord. That's how you get let's punch in a, Excel spreadsheet, see what the most popular type of game is to make the most amount of money, and then rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And that's not what anybody wants ultimately. So hopefully I'm optimistic that they get that Game Pass money just coming in, flowing in. They're like, hey, we don't need to worry about the numbers for a while, and just have their studios kind of make what people are, looking for.
Sure. Yeah. What about you, Tris?
Yeah, I think it's really, it's so curious what's going on right now, because everything about the way they changed up their direction in literally in 1 week, everything we were hearing about Xbox, everything we expected them to be doing just changed. And it really feels like really higher ups, they were not happy with what was going on, and they said, okay, hold on, and they just pressed a button and changed everything. And it's so hard to say. I'm sure they're having discussions about everything right now to try to figure out what they even want to do as an identity, what they want the identity of the Xbox to be all over again. So I don't know. I mean, you have written in the notes, take it with a grain of salt. I feel like that applies to everything with whatever's happening with Xbox right now in general.
Yeah, it really feels to me like Phil Spencer was the fall guy for Microsoft admitting that they fucked up on their most recent strategies. You know what I mean? It's like, because now it's like Asha is in here and, and she's brand new, but she came from the AI division. So definitely she's been playing the Microsoft game for a while now. Right. But it really seems like it's like, okay, what we were trying to do as a pivot with Xbox was simply not working. We're going to pin it all on Phil, even though it really feels to me like some of Phil's hands were tied for a lot of this. I don't know that he ever was a huge proponent of taking away exclusives entirely, right? I think everybody's a little shocked by that pivot, right? But
he definitely seemed like the hype man behind the decisions that were over his head.
Right.
And then the one taking the fall for it.
Yeah, that's probably why he ended up taking a fall, to be honest, is he was just the face of Xbox for so long, right? But either way, we'll see what happens here. I'm still dubious about a lot of the future of Xbox personally.
Yeah.
But I am glad to hear that they're at least having a little bit of a come to Jesus moment with plans that have or have not been working. So we'll be keeping our eyes to the ground on that. Is that what you know? You put your ears on the ground. You keep your eyes to the sky. That's enough of that. We'll move on to our next bit of news. And this is moving into the movie news segment of the podcast. We're going to start here with some Nintendo movie news. And I think we might have mentioned this at the very end of the show last week, but Sony Pictures has announced at CinemaCon that The Legend of Zelda has wrapped. That's right. The live action movie that is being directed by Wes Ball has wrapped. And there have been some really interesting things shown off. I think the cinematographer for the movie has shared on Instagram a picture of the clapper board that was used for the film. And it had a really kind of interesting bit of concept art on it. Link in full regalia with kind of a, chainmail on and a hood. And it's a really good looking Link render. It's definitely not like a still from the movie, because how would you even have that for a clapper, right? It's clearly concept art, but it does have people kind of excited about this movie and buzzing again about the project. I'm certainly excited to see what this is going to look like, if not a little bit hesitant, especially, after what we've seen with the last two Mario movies. Not that I didn't enjoy those movies. It's just, I want the Zelda movie to be very different from whatever they're doing with the Mario movies, right? But that's very interesting. There's been lots of little leaks and rumors coming out. One of the shots of the camera department that was posted on Instagram showed them in a location that looked very similar to the Temple of Time from Ocarina of Time. And I think that's leading some speculation that maybe this movie might have a lot of DNA in common with Ocarina of Time, which I think would make sense with the remake. But Triss, are you excited for this Zelda movie? Are you looking forward to it?
Absolutely. Zelda's my favorite video game series. So ever since they announced this movie, even though there's like a level of caution with it being live action, I have been very excited towards this movie. The idea of a Zelda movie is what I've wanted ever since I was a kid. And, way back when, seeing the old April Fool's IGN video way back in the day, the fake movie trailer.
Totally.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
But I think it's exciting to hear that it's wrapped filming, although I almost feel like it's much sooner than expected, given that the movie's still not out for over another year, about a year.
Right.
But that means there's probably a lot of work to do on the CG and all the editing. And it really makes me wonder how much of it, and in a world nowadays where you have the live action Lion King, how much of it truly is going to be live action versus how much of it's going to end up being CG. I mean, we know a lot of the filming was where they filmed Lord of the Rings, for example. So I imagine a lot of the environments are going to be real, and we saw that bit of the set. So I don't think they're going to be standing in front of a green screen all movie. That's good, at least.
Well, Wes Ball and the cinematographer Guila Pados, I believe, is their name, but they both worked on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which was another one of these very heavy CG, but shot live action on location films. So it feels like that whole movie was just a pitch to Nintendo of we can use that method for this film, right? So I think an entire year for post-production feels great to me. I'm sure they're going to be wanting to do some testing as well with test audiences with this movie, because they really want
potential reshoots.
Yes,
if need be.
Reshoots, I'm sure, will be on the cards. But I think that they really want to put their best foot forward with a live action movie from Nintendo. This being the first one since the 1993 Mario Brothers movie, obviously. Garrett, what about you? Are you excited for this? And can you break any news? Were you an extra on the set of on the Legend of Zelda movie?
I unfortunately was not an extra. If I was going to be an extra, I'd probably want to be like a Deku scrub or something where you totally can't even identify it as me.
Totally.
But I'm excited about this. This is actually, because so far all the information that I've been picking up, aside from the people attached, is the stills, right? The stills of the actor and actress playing Link and Zelda. And I remember, for a while, not to be the classic fanboy Nintendo guy, but, in my head, I know that behind you, David, you got Princess Mononoke playing on the TV.
I do.
And that's always been for me, the goal of a Zelda movie is make it anime, make it at least animated in a 2D kind of way. I think that's just such a good medium for the stuff.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit kind of hesitant when I heard that it was going to be live action in the first place. And then, of course, it brings in the question, everybody thinks about it, like, is he going to talk? If he's going to talk, what is the characterization going to be of a character that has been like famous?
He's going to be like, I'm walking it. Come on.
Yeah, he's Brooklyn. That'd be an awesome twist. What if it's like shot for shot the live action Mario movie from the 80s?
Oh my God.
Yeah, they got
a interesting
Dino Hatton. Yeah.
But I'm seeing the clapper, as silly as it is, because it's just a piece of concept art. I think that looks awesome. I think that the outfit looks very Twilight Princess specifically. Yeah. That's awesome. And also, one interesting thing to note is that the photo still that they did for the announcement of the actors, the actor playing Link in the still has short brunette hair, though he's wearing like a very like medieval kind of shirt. So it certainly looks like it's costume wardrobe for the Zelda movie. And then in this clapper, he like clearly has like the blonde Link
with the sideburns, which were very much missing from the set photo, right?
How interesting.
So it'll be interesting to see what the evolution of the character is, and if there is any, because when you're talking about Miyazaki and Princess Mononoke, I mean, I feel like that's what Nintendo has been doing with the current Zelda. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild are very Mononoke coded, and they have the cel-shaded kind of anime style. This seems like it might be a little bit more of an amalgam. And if any of those rumors are true about the Temple of Time and any sort of time travel shenanigans that might be taking part in this story, I think leaning a little bit more back to the Ocarina of Time aesthetic as they're putting this remake out there, that we still haven't obviously seen any proof of, but I think we're all really, really hoping is true. I think that it might be a good idea to skew a little bit older with that style and then maybe, work your way up. But I don't know. We'll see. Zelda certainly looked like Breath of the Wild Zelda in those stills as well. So time will certainly tell. I have a lot of faith in the creative team at the very least of this movie. I was a really big fan of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I never saw the Maze Runner movies, but I really liked that last Apes movie. So I'm excited to see it for sure. Cool. Well, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about with the Zelda movie. We'll move on to a little bit of other movie news. And as we said before, CinemaCon happened this past week. It is like a trade show in Las Vegas, all around the upcoming slate of movie releases. And there are a couple other video game related titles that have been revealed. Street Fighter got its first trailer. So that is interesting. It looks like a fun, campy time. The Elden Ring movie had its cast announced. That is an upcoming A24 film from the writer and director of Civil War, Alex Garland. I know Tom Burke is going to be in that. I think, Jonathan Pryce, Emma Lord, Peter Serafinowicz, and then our very own from Parks and Recreation, Nick Offerman, will be in it, alongside Kaylee Spaney and many others. And then, keeping with the FromSoft movie news, Bloodborne had an animated feature also announced with Jacksepticeye, the YouTuber, producing. So that'll be very interesting. And I know a great studio that would be really good at animating that movie, but I'll keep my mouth shut on that. I have no knowledge of anything going on, but I just would really love to work on that film anyway. But any takeaways from some of this video game movie news over at CinemaCon?
I love that all of this news is happening around the same time, because I think it kind of shows, if there was any doubt before now, we're really in an era where people are open to the idea of having video game movies.
Oh yeah, the dam has broken.
Because we really haven't had that since like they had first attempted it back in the 80s and 90s, and we all know how well those were received back then.
Yeah.
So seeing all of it come back now, it's very fascinating, because you can tell at times when, okay, they're getting like Hollywood people to try to bring non-gamers into it. But then you could also tell when it's the complete reversal of everyone involved in this is so passionate about it because they want to do it. And you just wouldn't have had that like 20 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. I'm particularly into this news. I've never really watched Jacksepticeye on YouTube. I don't really know much about him. But, I like that that's a new trend of like YouTubers producing these things, because we saw that with Markiplier with the Iron Lung movie, and that was a huge success. We know.
Still need to see Iron Lung.
Yeah,
it's very good.
I haven't seen it either. A lot of it was produced here in Austin, Texas, as well, where I'm located. So
nice.
That's really cool to see. But it's like, Either way, I think it's good. I think keeping like a nice lower budget theatrically released movie with a producer that has name recognition, I think is a really winning formula. And I'm really glad to see that particular trend being chased by Hollywood right now, especially when it comes to video game adaptations. What about you, Garrett? Are you excited for any of this? The A24 Elden Ring movie? Does that have you excited?
I think it's so interesting that it's the same, From Software owns the rights, or I guess rather Sony owns Bloodborne's rights, right?
That's
but either
correct.
way, From Software is clearly, the godfather of both Elden Ring and Bloodborne. And it's so interesting that they're doing basically diametrically opposite ways to do a video game adaptation movie. One
100%.
is the live action, get filmmakers, big celebrity names. The other is much more of a neat, he has a internet following, but I think ask your mom who Jacksepticeye is, he's probably not going to have an answer. Whereas if you go, hey, Nick, she might not know Nick Offerman either. That's aside the point what your mom knows. Bloodborne, it's going to be animated. It's going to have as you said, Tris, a passionate person, pushing it in the background. And I think that's such a good call for both of these games. Because if you look at Elden Ring, it is the big, huge, accessible, tons of name brand recognition, one game of the year, played by 1 billion trillion people, big box office draw, make a live action one. And then Bloodborne is certainly like a fan favorite, beloved by so many people very passionately, but relatively niche, especially because it's, stuck on one console, stuck on one place, and also a time and place, like 2015, 16. So having that be an animated feature also makes a ton of sense. It feels like very savvy takes for both of these movies.
Is this animated Bloodborne movie going to bring back the calls to bring Bloodborne back to any modern platforms? And will they answer that call?
100%. I mean, I think that I don't think that Sony is as good at this as Nintendo is. And we've talked about this, and we did a whole episode on how video game movies are the new comic book movies, and the gold rush has officially begun. But I think Nintendo does a really good job of being like, hey, Mario Galaxy movie's coming out. We're dropping Mario Galaxy. They work together. You know what I mean? And I think Sony has been trying to do that, but they haven't been doing it as well. But I would be very fucking surprised if now is not the time, especially if this gets like a theatrical distribution, which I imagine it would if it was, said it was at CinemaCon. I think that they would be stupid and be shooting themselves in the foot to not put that out. The question is, are the people that are begging for a Bloodborne remake going to be furious when they realize that this movie is going to be at 24 frames per second and not the 60 that they have all been clamoring for the past little while?
You're start seeing all the YouTube videos comparing the frame rate of the original game, the remake, and the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, or they'll do that horrible thing, because I work in animation, and there's nothing I hate more than seeing like clips from one of the shows I've worked on with like the AI interpolating between the frames. God. I'm like, oh my God, please shut that shit off. It's horrible stuff. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. Sony, hit us up. I'd love to work on that movie. But anyway, we'll go ahead and move on. This is kind of in movie news, but really just in related media news. And this is a bit of a follow-up to a story that we did a couple of weeks ago about Epic Games laying off 1,000 employees. Disney, not to be outdone, has decided to lay off 1,000 of its own employees. This was after rumors were circulating that Disney was planning on buying Epic Games. So who knows what's actually happening right now, other than the fact that the entire world is a dumpster fire. And it seems that no media property or established legacy brand is safe these days. I know a lot of this news came from artists that worked within the Disney family, a lot of them being concept artists. I think one of the more ironic bits that I saw online was a concept artist who worked specifically for the Marvel division being laid off in the room that had a mural that he created for Loki on the walls. So rough to hear.
And I heard too with this that it's so many of the concept artists and like the VFX teams for like all the recent MCU stuff, and even like the legacy MCU stuff over the past 20 years. So you look at that and you see like these huge MCU projects that we're still building into Doomsday later this year and Secret Wars next year. And you wonder, how are they going to do that if they just laid off the entire teams?
Yeah.
Like those aren't done yet. if you just lost all your VFX teams and Doomsday finished shooting, but you still have to do all the editing of VFX, who are you going to get to do that?
Yeah.
Sure, maybe the layoffs are like not like immediate. Maybe they have like a bit of time, but not enough time to do that.
Right.
And it kind of it puts that like really bad taste in your mouth of like, well, is that just really going to badly affect the quality of it? And is it in good faith to support whatever they're going to be doing with that? Because it's frustrating, frankly.
Yeah, it's really annoying to see, to say the least. That's putting it very lightly. You know, I think that this is obviously multifaceted, and there's a lot of different reasons for this. I think that, you know, the MCU, even though there are big projects coming forward in the film universe, has been very much winding down. You know, I think we've had one MCU movie in the last year, right? And which is unprecedented at this point. I don't know the last time, you know, I guess we got that Wonder Man show, which was actually pretty good. But so I think that's definitely part of it. But I do think that so much of this comes down to AI. And I think that is not explicitly what was said. Obviously, there's a new president over at Disney, or a new CEO rather. And I know he's not very well liked within the company, as you can imagine right now. He came in and kind of just canned 1,000 employees. But, you know, it does seem like, especially when it's people like concept artists, you know, VFX stuff that is, you know, I hate to say it, but more easily reproducible by a generative AI system than something else, or something that has better protections, like say Writers Guild or something like that, where they've been fighting for AI protections for some time. You have to think that this is related, right? And, you know, I think that was also part of why so many employees were laid off from Epic as well. These cost-cutting measures, especially on a company that has a lot of, you know, horizontal and vertical integration like Disney, you just really hate to see it. And I hope to stop reporting on these kinds of stories in the future. Do you have anything to add on to this, Garrett, before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks so bad.
Yeah.
It is. And also, it reminds me so much of the past couple of years, where, especially in video games, layoff after layoff after layoff, just this huge dirge of creative people working in the industry. I hate to see that it keeps happening. As you say, I mean, I don't have any source on this. The feeling I had immediately when I was hearing that a huge share of this was concept artists being laid off is just kind of like, oh, yeah, that is. Unfortunately, if you're some executive and you don't really know much about the, you know, boots on the ground making a movie, concept artist would be one of the first things you would go, hey, why are we paying all these people? I can just type in, show me Mario with a gun, and it'll make a picture of it.
I have an app that's combined all the collective work of every concept artist up to this point. So why would I need a guy? You know?
Exactly. Huge bummer. Obviously, you know, this is going to inevitably bite them in the butt. Give it, you know, whether it's 5 years or 10 years, they're going to have some huge drop off in quality on one of their films, or maybe multiple of their projects. People are going to be outraged. They're going to have to do an apology thing. It's just this cycle that happens again and again. They're going to quietly hire more people. Then when you get the next executive in there that wants to make some other groundbreaking move, they're going to fire. It's just this, you hate to see it with these giant conglomerates that don't really face the big repercussions for what they're doing, but like the people at the bottom of the pyramid are always getting churned, and I think that stinks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, you know, we've been putting off an episode on AI for quite a while now, specifically AI in games development. I actually did speak to someone from MarketWatch recently who interviewed me, and I think a bunch of other people, about our thoughts on AI in the games industry. So hopefully we'll be getting that topic up and running at some point once I finally suck it up and realize that I just have to do this no matter how much I don't want to. But we'll go ahead and move on from this for right now to a little bit of better news. And that is that Animal Crossing has officially turned 25. Feel old yet? The original game, I think, came out for the N64 in Japan. But the first one we got here in the States was for the GameCube. And this is great to have Nintendo talk about some of these milestones. Nintendo celebrated it by adding a little bit of an update into Animal Crossing. I think it was 3.0.2 or something like that for Animal Crossing New Horizons on the Switch. It added in some, you know, nostalgic items. I think you got like a leaf, like a looking thing that you could put up on your island, and then there are a bunch of bug fixes as well. Additionally, Nintendo added music from the original GameCube game into the Nintendo Music app. That app is getting better and better all the time. I still wish we got more games at a little bit quicker of a cadence, but there's some really, really great stuff on that app now if you're trying to get your Nintendo Music on. But, with Animal Crossing turned 25, I just kind of wanted to pick y'all's brains a little bit on this because I really feel like over the last month or two, we've just been getting nonstop cozy games from Nintendo. And clearly the influence of Animal Crossing has been very felt, especially at the beginning here of the Switch 2's life cycle. We got the big 3.0 update for Animal Crossing, New Horizons. We also obviously got Pokopia, which has been a major hit for the Switch 2. I think Pokopia has sold almost 1 million copies in Japan alone at this point, which is really crazy. And then obviously Tomodachi Life, which just came out. I'm curious if you guys think that any of these newer games that have been coming out in this cozy game genre will affect Animal Crossing games going forward. Like whatever the Switch 2's Animal Crossing game is going to be, like, what do you think that's going to look like? And do you think it'll take any lessons from some of the games that we've been getting recently from Nintendo?
Sure. I think definitely, it's kind of a rising tide raises all boats. On one hand, you could view it as there's more competition for an Animal Crossing than there ever was before. For a very long time, it was Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing. Those are the big dogs. They're giving you this kind of thing. Now, especially in the age of indie, like Stardew Valley, of course, you have so many games that have figured out what they like about that gameplay system and then just focusing on different aspects of it. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that gives the average person a lot more of an appetite for that kind of game. And hopefully Animal Crossing, the next iteration, it would be very naive for Nintendo. I don't know what their numbers are, but I think it'd be very silly for them to expect the same level of sales from the next Animal Crossing.
Right.
Because there's probably, fingers crossed, not going to be a global pandemic that makes everybody on Earth have to play your game.
Knock on some wood if you can find it. Yeah.
So it's this weird thing, right? Where like the next game almost certainly is not going to reach the exact high heights of New Horizons, but I'm very optimistic. I think that more people than ever know about the brand, know about the games, would be interested to check it out. I think it's the future looks bright for them.
Interesting. Tris, what about you?
Yeah, I think there's also a lot that they can learn, even just from New Horizons alone, and how they handled everything in each iteration of that game, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 most recently.
Totally.
They've been learning. They've been trying to address what they can and add more content for people. But I do think that they have enough from the dedicated Animal Crossing fans alone to look at and kind of pick the brains on how to approach a new game after, in a post New Horizons world, post pandemic world. I think that they definitely have what they need to make another game only better than New Horizons, because you can specifically address that game's shortcomings. And now with Pokopia and Tomodachi Life, you can look at what the highs of those games have been to make sure to focus elsewhere for Animal Crossing. So one thing people love about Tomodachi Life is the island creator. And that's pretty similar to what they started doing in New Horizons.
Totally.
So,
very much
probably
inspired.
Don't do the same exact thing in New Horizons. So I don't know, maybe they go back to a city again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways to play it out that just the day-to-day gameplay would feel very different. I think in the way they would market it would be very different. Because I think even like the marketing for Tomodachi Life has very much been, look at what these Miis are doing. Look at what you can make them do. Whereas Animal Crossing really is living your life amongst these villagers.
Right. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, in Tomodachi Life, you're God.
Yes.
And Animal Crossing, you're in there. You're in the shit, right?
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree with you, Tris. And I think that, yes, I think it's the New Horizonsification of Animal Crossing has spread to Tomodachi Life, right? And I think that there's a lot of people that don't love that. I've been seeing a lot of pushback from Tomodachi Life that are saying, oh, it's a little bit too much like Animal Crossing now, or they've taken away a lot of the quirkiness of it. I kind of disagree on that. We'll talk about that in the main topic. But for a new Animal Crossing, I would love to see it get back to some of the ethos and the pathos of like the original GameCube game, or even like City Folk or something like that, where it's a little bit more gamey. And we also saw that quite a bit in Pokopia. I think that's something that Pokopia did a lot better than New Horizons for me personally, was just like the gamification of it, right? And I think it's really nice to have all the designer sensibility stuff and really just to let your inner artist get out there. But like, you know, my Animal Crossing island looks like shit. My Tomodachi Life Island looks like shit. Like, I'm way more concerned about relationships with people and some of the gameplay and stuff like that. So that's how I hope we end up going back to it. But great stuff either way. What a wonderful series. And it's just insane, the growth that the Animal Crossing series has had over the last, 5 to 10 years. It's really been completely unprecedented. But,
absolutely.
We'll go ahead and move on to our last bit of news here. And this is just kind of a roundup of some Tomodachi Life news before our main topic. First off, the game is obviously out. We've been playing it, and the Metacritic is sitting at 78 currently, which I think is about where the first game also sat, if not a little bit below, right? I can totally see that this is not a game for necessarily everybody. And I know specifically IGN had issues mainly with the sharing features of the game. Again, that's a second time now that I've teased us talking about that in the main topic. But other than that, I think people are mostly pretty positive on it. Apparently, also, Nintendo was obsessed with getting the fart sound exactly correct. These were things that we learned from some developer interviews that have come out alongside the game. I think EPD7 is working on it, but I think a lot of producers from EPD4 were also working on it. We talked about that some last week. Also, according to a German's rating board, this game was at least feature complete about a year ago. We've heard that a lot from Nintendo recently, but I think it was about 1 year ago that the rating came in from Germany. So that's interesting. We do know Nintendo likes to sit on these games. And then the last little bit of news roundup here is that the UK launch of Tomodachi Life was quite big, and I think it outsold Pocopia in the UK, at the very least. That's where we get a lot of these early sales numbers from, by 36%. So not a huge margin, and I do know Pocopia sold out everywhere in the UK, so it's kind of hard to really say exactly what that could mean. But either way, I'm seeing tons of people on social media talking about this game right now. I got a feeling this game is going to be a huge hit, and we'll get into all of our thoughts in their entirety when we get to the main topic, all about Tomodachi Life with Triss and Garrett, right after this break. We are back with Triss and Garrett to talk all about Tomodachi Life, living the dream. Y'all, I'm going to say it. I'm completely smitten with this game. I can't stop thinking about it. It's like one of those games where it's like the music is always stuck in my head, and there's only like 6 songs in the thing. So of course they're going to loop quite a bit in my head, but I have been having so much fun playing this brand new Wii game in 2026. It really does feel like the spirit of the Wii is alive and well in Tomodachi Life. But we're going to be talking all about our impressions, what we like about the game, what's been a little bit frustrating about the game, and just, kind of, are Mii's back? Are they back in a big way? We're going to be talking about all that in our main topic. But before we get into the nitty gritty about some of our thoughts about the game, I'd love to get y'all's just overall impressions. Garrett, maybe we can start with you. What are some of your thoughts on Tomodachi Life so far?
Love it. I'm having an absolutely great time.
Yeah.
I think it's so good. I think it's one of those games. It's kind of like, I guess hindsight's 2020, but you always think about like the game that launches with a console. I think this is like the quintessential Switch 2. I know it's available on Switch 1 as well, of course, but Switch 2, it is like universal. Everybody on Earth has a fun time making a Mii of a character. I think it's great. 2 thumbs sky high.
Hell yeah. What about you, Triss? You enjoying the game as well?
I've been having such a blast with this game. I loved the original on 3DS. I put like 200 hours into that one over the years. So I was very, very excited from the moment they announced this one. And it's been just so much fun and kind of nostalgic just for the fact that I loved doing that as a kid with the 3DS version and all the silly things with Mii's over the years. I do love all the antics that happen here, whether they're with my Mii and my friends' Mii's or like the Mario and Luigi and things like that. Like this, it's something you could only have in this kind of game. And having been like over 12 years since the last one, you kind of forget about that until you sit down with it again.
Totally. Yeah. The first game, or I guess second game in the States. There was Tomodachi Collection, I believe, for the DS
Right.
in Japan. But for all intents and purposes, we'll call the 3DS game the original game. And I think, that one kind of passed me by, I think, at the time. And it wasn't really until Miitomo, which was kind of the cell phone spiritual successor to Tomodachi Life, that I got actually really into Miis again for the first time in a really long time. And I think and I just have a Mii that looks exactly like me, or at least it did when I made it back on the Wii days, right? Because I basically made it on the Wii, and that transferred over to the Wii U whenever I got my Wii U, and then that got uploaded to my Nintendo account. And then that transferred over to my 3DS. And then I used an amiibo to move that Mii over to my Switch. So I'm using the same Mii basically that I made back on the Wii. Little tweaks here and there to modernize him a little bit. But I just think it's so fun and funny to see yourself represented in a video game, especially with other video game characters. I love racing as my Mii in Mario Kart, And so, I just think it's just going to be inherently funny to see the antics of people getting into stuff when you're involved in it, and even when you're not involved in it. I've been, and I'm sure close friends of mine know this at this point, but over the last 6 months, I've just been in this hyperfixation, rabbit hole of the Beatles, basically.
That's right.
I've just been spiraling down the drain, learning all there is to know about the Beatles, recording history and their wives and all the drama between everybody. And so the first things I did when I made my island was create all the Beatles and their wives. And they are all there hanging out with me. We also have Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin are also on my island. So there's a little bit of a revolutionary vanguard popping up on the island as well. I know Lenin has been fighting for a worker-led revolution since he was born on my island. But it's stuff like that we're seeing so many people make obviously their friends and family, and I've got a couple friends in there as well. I have friends, but but I think you're seeing so many people that are parts of these massive fandoms, spend the time to create, characters that they love and enjoy in the game. And I think that is just really satisfying for a lot of people. But Tris, what are some of the characters that you're making in Tomodachi Life right now?
So in addition to making myself and my friends just to have that fun antics and inside jokes they want the game built on,
right?
I have a whole list of video game characters I want to make, and then turn into little YouTube shorts just to show I have them. But I've been working through a bunch of Mario characters currently, and it's been really satisfying seeing how much more you could do with this new Mii Maker now compared to 20 years ago on the original Wii. As some people online were saying, the black magic you had to do to make a Mii with the facial features look like Kirby on a face, for example.
Right.
The sunglasses for Sonic characters, the way you would make some really wacky choices to make something vaguely look like a character. Now you could just do in the editor with the actual, just all the updated new features of the Miis themselves with even more customization to the mouth, the eyes, the noses, but then the face paint. When they announced that they were removing the makeup from the Switch version of Miitopia, people were upset at first because oh, are we not going to have as much customization? Well, actually, no. We have infinitely more.
Yeah, you can just do literally whatever you want.
and what's come out of it is so impressive. I'm not someone that can make a hyper realistic Mii. Those are very funny to see, but I could never do that. But it's really fun trying to make new designs that kind of still invoke that energy of a Mii while being able to make your initial reaction go, oh, that's totally that character. When I made the Mario princesses, there was just that feeling that clicked. I'm like, oh, that's totally them. I never would have been able to make them like this before.
Yeah, it makes me feel so good when I make a Mii. For instance, I made Zoran Mamdani recently. He's living with all the communists on my island right now. But I made Zoran Mamdani, and I just took a picture of him because I was like, I fucking nailed that. And I sent it to my friend Andrew, and he was immediately like, Zoran Mamdani. And I was like, yes! He just got it immediately. It just feels so good whenever you nail it, right? And I think so much of it has come down to the eyes. They added so many little bits of customization for the eyes. You can add eye bags really easily, which you can then also move around a lot. So I always
Yep.
end up kind of putting them here at the crevice to kind of like make the nose arch and adding little squinty lines around the side of the eyes. And eye shines as well. Adding eye shines just
so much
brings your character to life, right?
Like all the Mario characters, I've given that to. And like with my friends, I've used the eye shine depending on like, are they someone who naturally looks more tired or someone who looks like they have more energy? That eye shine alone does so much because you can change like the shape and exact positioning. And it that one little detail alone puts so much life into these Miis. It's really
crazy.
Cool.
And that's a trick that I learned working in animation. Is like, if you want a character to look dead-eyed, no eye shines. But if you want them to suddenly pop to life, just add a little bit of white circle, just, reflected off the eyeballs, and it really does wonders. But Garrett, what about you? What are some of the characters that you've been putting on your island so far?
So the first little batch of characters that I made was the Peanuts, Charles Schultz, the Peanuts.
Very good.
So I made Charlie Brown, I made Linus, I made Sally. I'm trying to crack Snoopy. I'm not exactly 100% sure.
Might have to whip out the drawing features there.
Yeah, like he has a big lump for his neck. So I'm still working on Snoopy. But then I have Abraham Lincoln. I have myself. Like it's such a fun game. And also, this is like one of the best games I've ever played with other people, with your roommate, with your friends. Like, just pass the controller. Everybody understands intuitively how to make a Mii.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also something that I think maybe this was a big part of it, but like the Wii was incredibly successful. So many people have nostalgia for, in the 2010s, making a Mii, playing Wii Sports. And that didn't go away. That just kind of faded away. If they never played the 3DS and they never played Tomodachi Life before, this is like a chance for them to go, oh yeah, that was so much fun back whenever I was younger. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Also, when you think about other video games that have character customization, that's just like a beloved part of games. I remember when the demo or character customization for Elden Ring came out. And everybody was like hopping in and making a bunch of faces and stuff. It's like super duper accessible, super universal. And as you were talking about the painting, it's incredible. It's immaculate, dude. It seems really simple, but I made Charlie Brown's little squiggle hair thing on his bald head.
Yeah.
And it goes such a long way because, I remember in like 2011, 2012, me and my sisters sitting around the Wii trying to make a character. And it's like, how can we move the mole and the eyebrows in such a way to make it look like Pac-Man? Because otherwise, and stuff like that is so much fun. But that was like a lot of fun messing around with the limitations. And this one, it's like, you can literally draw anything that you'd like to. And I think if I just had a bald little boy with dead eyes, you wouldn't immediately go, that's Charlie Brown. But now if you look at this dude, you're going to go, oh my God, I'd say Charlie Brown.
I'd say that's Caillou right there. That's definitely
exactly.
A dead-eyed baby is Caillou. That's interesting that y'all are using the drawing features, and obviously it's a huge, incredible feature here. And I know a lot of people are doing really crazy stuff with it. I've been having fun trying to avoid actually using the face paint as much as possible. You know what I mean? Like because to me, making the person look as close as you can with just the tools that they give you is like part of the fun. Like that's what makes it so fun to actually like make these things. And whenever it's like, oh, like you captured the essence using just the tools that you have, that's when you realize like how robust just the tools already are. Right. And I think, it's not exactly the same as moving the glasses around and having the eyes be all the different angles to be ears or whatever. But it's like, I made my cat the other day, and you could make a pretty good cat in this, like just with the tools available. And I even tried to do a little bit of drawing over to like cover up some spots or whatever. But then I just found that just tweaking the stuff. Like I think having the kind of cheek blush and moving it down towards the mouth and moving it inside kind of makes that nice little snout area, for an animal. And so stuff like that I've just been finding to be incredibly fun. And I think something that you brought up, Garrett, in addition to, just the meme maker and kind of harkening back to that Wii era that I think is so nostalgic for so many people these days. Something that you brought up is that this game is just funny. Like this.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And I know the first game was too, and Mitoma was as well. But it's like, it's not gotten old for me, gang. Like, it's like the amount of time that I'm sitting alone in my apartment, in my underwear, with with my couch, with my Switch in hand, and I'm just busting out laughing by myself, like audibly. Like, it is crazy, like that is so rare to just be like, cackling in a room by yourself, right? And I just think that like they really nailed the humor, and I think so much of that has got to come down to the localization teams for these games. Like the localization for this game in particular has got to be just immense, right? Because all the languages that it's translated into, and then even just amongst English, I feel like there's a whole different team for like the UK versus the US. And I don't know. I think it's really, really, really funny. And the fact that you can make them say literally whatever you want, like there being no swear filter or like no topic that's off limits is brilliant, And I think it's just, we'll talk if we think that's worth some of the sharing restrictions that have come along with that. But what do y'all think about kind of the humor of this game? Like Tris, like, can I ask some of the fucked up shit you're making your me say on this island?
So like I've not delved into some of the lunacy that some people have made the me say, but like the closest was like two of my friends, their me's wanted to interact, and I'm like, okay, I gotta be funny with this one so I can at least show it to them. So it was like, okay, well, what are they gonna talk about? So I just put I put a thing, and I had them talk about a man. Yeah. So they could just just this simple little thing. And then now, like days later, I have me's like whispering to each other about their prized man collection. So really funny little things like that happen. Or like I could have really funny moments of like two of my friends, they introduce another friend because they talk about Magic the Gathering. Like silly little things that like maybe they do in real life, but you get to put it in this, and in just the context of the situation and how it comes up just makes it infinitely funnier.
Yeah, it's like Mad Libs the game kind of.
Yeah, right? It really is Mad Libs the game.
Yeah. No, I really love that. That's so wholesome, the stuff that you said. I fear that my island is a much more grotesque place than yours right now. But it's mostly okay. It's mostly political and Beatles related. Garrett, what about you? Like, what do you think of some of the humor of this game? Are there any like funny moments? And obviously some of that is just written by the game, but anything that you've brought into the game that just makes you chuckle?
Oh my gosh, so much. It's so funny. I really like the fact that when you make a character, the first second that you make the character, it'll look like the character, but over the course of playing the game, you will mold them to make them actually fit, or maybe not fit.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I made Abraham Lincoln, and immediately Abraham Lincoln was just like Naruto running in a circle around the fountain. He just wouldn't stop doing that. And I had forgotten that I made my name Brother. So if I clicked on Abraham Lincoln, he'd be like, "Sup, brother?" And his voice is crazy. It's like it's big waveforms.
Right.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I love the detail that we have human hands that like a photo of a man's hand is like grabbing things.
Yeah.
That's so funny. There's this interesting thing. I hadn't noticed it until it happened in this game. Maybe this is some kind of lost in translation thing, or maybe it's just a classic like Japanese joke. But if you do the heads or tails coin flip and you fail it, they will give you a box of tissues. Consolation
I get that every time. Yeah.
And that similar joke is also in Final Fantasy VII. So I wonder if there's like a classic Japanese bit where it's like, "Oh, sorry, you failed. Here's a box of tissue." I think it's so funny.
In case you start crying.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this game is so funny.
So on my island, everyone's in love with Yoko Ono. Like everyone, like everyone is head over heels in love with Yoko Ono. Like my character is just BFFs with Yoko Ono. For some reason, my character is not in love with Yoko. But John is obviously in love with Yoko. Zoran just immediately fell for Yoko. And then who else? Also, my old roommate, Baylor, also fell in love with Yoko. So there was like a bit of like a three-way, they were all vying for Yoko's affection. she ended up going with John, which made me very relieved because I am trying to hook the Beatles up with their wives. Although I will say, Paul and John were trying to get together for a while. I think
that's history, baby.
Well, I know. That's what I was trying. I was like, I'm dying to have a love triangle between John, Paul, and Yoko. And I basically made it work. Paul was lusting after John, and then John turned him down, which was devastating for Paul. But now I'm trying to hook him up with his real life wife, Linda. But I'm getting too in the weeds on this. But but anyway, so Zoran and my roommate Baylor, we're both just so heartbroken over Yoko turning them down. And I kept trying to offer them tissues because they're like crying. And every time I give them tissues, they're like, I don't want this. I don't care about this. What are you doing? Just leave me be. And I'm like, I'm trying to help out, man. It's really hard to make your Miis not depressed when they've been turned down by a loved one in this game. But
I have found one of the fastest ways is to send them on a trip. If you have like the wishing ticket.
Good call.
Because like I it was really funny. One of my friends' Miis got depressed after getting turned down by my Mii, funny enough.
Yeah.
Didn't like any of the items.
That is so you, Tris. That is so you.
Yeah, apparently. Didn't like any of the items I gave him. Didn't like any of the food I gave him. I was like, we'll send him on a trip. And it sent that depression meter like halfway down. It was really funny because he went on the trip alone, which I've not seen him do yet. They always bring somebody. Yeah. So he was like, all right, I'm depressed. I'm getting out of here. Change of scenery. He just went out to like Eastern Europe on his own.
Yeah.
Very, very silly. But it did bring that depression meter down. So I don't know if that's the best way, but I found that worked. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Head pats help. A nice big meal helps. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, exactly. They're like, I do not like paella. It's like, all right. But no, I've been having a ton of fun. You said that you made your name Garrett Brother. My Miis refer to me as my lord. So they're like, what can I do for you, my lord? Which makes me feel really good and special. So that's been really nice. I don't know. There's lots of really funny stuff that they're talking about right now. Some dirty stuff as well. Like I had my friend Ben come over and Ben was like, make them say frauding. And so like there's a bunch of gay stuff in the game now. And then what else are they talking about? Yeah, there's a lot of like, destroying capitalism in there. They're always like, man, what's a really cringy thing you can say? And it's like, I'm quitting the Beatles. So they're all trying to one up each other by saying they're quitting the Beatles right now, which is really funny to me. But yeah, I'm just having a blast with it. And I think let's talk a little bit more about gay stuff because this game, we're there. We're back in woke, baby. It's so nice to see. And what I love about this game is how nonchalantly and just no duh it's handled. You know what I mean? There's like, it is literally just pretend like people who complain about these sort of things don't exist is, I think, the avenue that they decided to take, right? And I think at first, especially because the average age on my island is like 85 because I have all these Beatles and their wives on there. Like, I was trying to make everybody's like sexual orientations like very realistic to the people that were on there. And I've abandoned that very quickly because I think it's way more fun to see like the really weird, unexpected relationships pop up. Right. And so I've been really enjoying, just having basically the sexual preference filter be open for pretty much everyone on the island. And I think it just allows for better, more interesting gameplay. But, Tris, what do you think about the wokeness of Tomodachi Life living the dream?
I'm so happy it's them delivering on a promise after the original game.
Yes.
Because they had that interview with the original 3DS game or the previous 3DS game where they full on mentioned it was an oversight not to include something like that. They did not realize it was something that would be so heavily wanted. The way it was there in the Japanese version was a glitch, and they know patching that up made people very upset. So they vowed that if they make another game in the series, they will make sure to include that kind of stuff. And do you think all these years later, maybe they forgot about that? Well, no, this has been in development for 9 years. Like they started development like 2 years after that interview. So it was still pretty fresh, and boy, did they do it. And that makes me really happy, honestly, because it's not only honoring that original promise, but it really helps that idea of live whatever life you want to have with this island and build whatever kind of life you want for all of these Miis in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It allows you to create characters that just feel much more true to reality in that way.
Totally. Yeah. And I think just being unapologetic about these sort of things is the way that we silence a lot of the naysayers on this sort of stuff to begin with. And so I'm really happy to see Nintendo just being like, fuck it, we're doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And just not even mentioning it and just having it be part of the game. I love to see it. But Garrett, what about you? Have you run into some interesting matchups?
Oh, yeah. I think that the funniest part about this is, when you make when you're making the face and the body and stuff, you are, at least I am, going for, I want to make this look like John F. Kennedy. I want to make this be Shaggy from Scooby-Doo or what have you. And you're attempting to make it as close to the idea of the character as you can. But then the second you make them, they're just their own little weirdo. Like they are. It stops being, that's Abraham Lincoln, and starts being, this is the Abraham Lincoln that lives on this island, who is honestly quite different than the Abraham Lincoln in history books. And it's so funny with dating, with matchups. It's so insane. I also really like the aspect of the like God thing, where a character, they'll say, for instance, Sally from the Peanuts and Linus from the Peanuts were like interested in each other.
Yeah, of course.
And that's canonical. So, but Sally like had like the little thought cloud. She's thinking about something. I click on it. She goes, I don't know about this Linus guy. He has a crush on me for sure. And I get it because it's me, but like, what am I going to do about it? And the options are like, no, he's awesome. I think that's a good idea. I don't know. It's up to you, or run, honey. And I think it's so funny to imagine you are a little creature on an island and you ask God if you should go out with somebody else.
Yeah.
That's just such a funny... It really is quite different than Animal Crossing, like you said, where Animal Crossing, you're a person amongst the people. Here, you are like the master hand,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to touch upon that too. Like we keep talking about the idea of we're basically God with this. And I think they really leaned into that more with this one than they did the previous game too, which I think helps a lot. Because with the previous game, I don't know if this was the case in all localizations, but I know in English, they referred to you as whatever the first original me you made was, as that me's look-alike. The whole so if you made yourself, your Triss is look-alike the whole time. Or if you make a really silly character, the very first that silly character's name's look-alike. So as if you made yourself the first time. So there was this level of, previously you were always you looking in, almost like looking down at like a bunch of ants and like looking into an ant farm kind of thing. Which is fine, but I think now it removes that direct connection, because not everybody's going to be making themselves in this. Some people are going to live out their fan fiction dreams of all their characters with this. Some people are just going to want to get a bunch of characters and literally watch it like ants. But that level of what do you want them to call you, and it doesn't have to have any relation to any specific character around there, really does add a lot to how you perceive and how you interact with it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like I thought that I would be having the most fun seeing the silly antics I got myself into on this island. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't feel like I am my me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like I'm me playing the game, and that my me is just another character amongst all these characters. And I kind of think that's better. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm getting so much more. I'm not playing favorites as much right now. Like, I think my favorite me on the island right now is George Harrison's wife, Patty. Like, she is so cool. She's definitely the it girl of the island. She's itty bitty, and she's got big buck teeth, and she's and everybody loves her. She's really fallen in with the communists. But it's like, but I think like, I don't know that I would have cared as much. I think like I would just be trying to get myself to get into all these different things. And I think it's much better this way. And I also think it's interesting how in this game, like your me's are not people, like they are me's, like they have weird things that happen to them. Like they freeze up, you know what I mean? Or like fall over and are just like frozen. So they almost feel like they are like these manufactured beings, so much more than they're like, oh, they're supposed to be people and this is supposed to be a real place. Like it really makes it feel like we know what we're doing here. This is a silly game with silly stuff and with these little characters. And I just think that's a way better way to approach it. And it just it takes a lot of it takes a lot of that bias out of it, I think, when I'm
somehow
playing
they're very self-aware. Like there's actually an interaction I've seen in the restaurant of them actually talking about like, what do you think we're made of? Like, we're me's. What are we made of? And one of them was like, we're made of breadcrumbs. It's like, sure, why not? You're made of breadcrumbs. Like,
yeah,
like that was a whole conversation you could sit in on and watch, and it's like, wow, like, yeah, they're not just like an art style of chibi people. Like, they are me's. They know they're me's,
right?
And there's something about that that makes it really special.
Yeah. I think it's really awesome, and I think it's a really smart way to continue to get characters, to get players really engaged with these characters, right? And yeah, I've been really enjoying that so far. Maybe we could talk a little bit just kind of about like the day-to-day kind of gameplay experience of this game and sort of like what you can expect, other than just like funny antics that are happening all the time. So obviously, I think the kind of general gameplay loop here is that you are building connections between all these characters, and you are kind of addressing some of their needs. You're making sure they're well fed. You're making sure that they meet friends. You can pick up your Miis and introduce them to other people, which is, I think, very crucial in this game. Something that I don't think was in the last game, right? They all just kind of met each other a little bit more naturally. Yeah, those are always
like very random.
It's another kind of very player-led, player agency change to this game that we're seeing kind of along the lines of Animal Crossing. But, every time that you're doing something for these characters or introducing them to people, you're getting like, I guess, bits of their happiness or like life essence is like passed onto you that you bottle up into this jar. And then you take that to the kind of town square to then buy more unlocks and more upgrades and whatnot. And, as you're doing that, you're unlocking stores, and you can get, food from the market, or, you can, buy clothes, which every day buy all the daily clothes. So they always show up in your shop from that day forward and whatnot. But I think that's kind of the main loop, and it has really gotten its teeth in me, I think, more than a lot of these other blue ocean games that I feel like Nintendo has been putting out recently. And I'm kind of curious as to why that gameplay loop is so addicting. Like, I don't know if it's hard for me to put my finger on exactly what makes me want to keep playing, but it's like, I'll sit down and realize, oh shit, I've been playing this game for like 2 hours, but do y'all have any idea on like what makes this game so addictive?
Sure. I think for me, at least personally, it's kind of like with most of the other games that I play generally, if you're playing Breath of the Wild, for instance, or playing, a competitive game like Mario Kart or something, the thing you get with putting your time into the game is, generally speaking, more of the same thing. If you love playing Mario Kart, you're playing it because you like the experience of going through the race, and you want to do that more and more. Maybe get a faster time, play against other people, etc. With Tomodachi Life, something that's very fun is that I am like playing this game and getting rewarded with things that I would have never expected. There are so many hilarious cutscenes. There are so many funny interpersonal things. There's so many cool interactive little things that the Miis will do. And I still don't feel at this point, maybe this would be different if I had played the 3DS version, but I do not know what this is capable of. I do not know what to expect, really. And so it's delightful to play because you're just getting surprised over and over and over again with often really funny things. There are a few games that kind of do that.
Yeah. I think that's a really great point. Yeah, the surprise that you constantly get is always very exciting. I think I care less about the actual quote unquote gameplay stuff that pops up. Like whenever I see, the green lines around a character and that there's like a mini game available. Yeah. Like I do enjoy those, but I end up skipping those a lot more than I do just like asking people like what it is that they want. You know what I mean? Rather than like, hey, do you want to play a game with me or whatever? Because I think those start to get a little bit repetitive. But I think it's the actual just finding out the way that these characters interact with each other. That's been what's drawing me in quite a bit more than the actual like, gameplay games that you can play with people. But Tris, do you have any thoughts on just kind of the gameplay loop?
Yeah, like especially like the more Miis that you add over time, that's infinitely more interactions that are going to be happening. So there's a lot to look at. There's a lot to do. And I think what makes that loop so engaging in a way that it doesn't for other games is you're largely an observer through a lot of it. You're an observer nudging them into certain directions, nudging characters to do certain things. Unless you were spending all of your time directly in the Mii Maker or the Palette House, or in the island designer, I guess, you're not actively you yourself doing a lot other than moving to check on each individual character,
Right.
which you're not doing from a character's perspective running around to them. You're just in camera controls. So it makes it much easier to get sucked in the loop of, oh, one more little one to click on. Oh, one more little problem to solve. Oh, one more little interaction to see before you realize 2 hours pass and you keep doing that one more for 2 hours.
Yeah, seriously.
Whereas with like, even like Animal Crossing or Pocopia, 2 games I also have really loved and enjoyed. If you're not quite in the mood that day, you might like boot it up, run around an area for 20 minutes to do your daily check-ins with certain characters, get your quick little things you want to do, and then turn it off, you're done. Because nothing in that feels as quick as the, just the quick daily check-in sort of thing. Whereas everything feels pretty quick in this game.
Yeah.
Every interaction, you might find yourself skipping like a me news report that you've already seen, or like a repeat one basically, or certain interactions that are pretty familiar, like you mentioned, like the mini games. And I do wonder how we'll feel about that when we're more than the first week with the game.
Totally.
Because that was some of the topics that came up in reviews, of some of it's a bit repetitive. But I do wonder how much repetition there truly is when you have a lot of Miis, right?
Right.
If you have 10 Miis versus 20 Miis, the amount of things you're going to see that are the same are going to be a bit different depending on how you made those Miis.
Right.
If they're all the same personality type, yeah, there's going to be a lot of similarities. But I guess as an easy example here, 2 nights ago, I added like my first Mii that had like the reserved, ambitious personality, I think. When almost everyone else has been like all the other like 3 categories.
The red categories.
And, yeah. The red, the yellow, a couple greens. This is the first blue. And her personality to everyone else is so different. I've been so invested in each of her interactions more than everyone else's, because it feels, every line of dialogue feels so much more fresh than all the other ones I've seen. And I'm like, okay, that's really interesting. So I think it's only as repetitive as you can make it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So if you have a lot of the same Miis, of course it's going to be repetitive, because they only have so much variance between them.
Well, yeah.
But if you have a lot of variety in your Miis, there's a lot going on there, and I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I hadn't even really thought about just how much this game is going to multiply on itself when I have like 50 Miis on my island at one. That's going to be crazy, right? But I think they do a really good job streamlining as much as they possibly can. Because even when you hit the repetitive stuff, like for me, the most repetitive stuff is I want to be friends with them conversation. Where it's like, what do you think about, Worker Red Revolution?
Like
I write the book on a Worker Red Revolution. They just say this shit over and over and over again. So I usually skip through that, to be honest. But they also have just like streamlined the game in so many other ways. So it's like, if ever you want to give your me some clothes, you can see exactly what you have available. And then it's like, if I don't have that available, I don't have to close out of the menu and then go over to the shop and open it up and buy something. It's just right there. There's like a little button where you can just go straight to the shop or whatever, right? And that's with all of the customizability elements are like that in this game. And I think that they've just done a really good job knowing that like the player is going to be creating so much of what makes this game varied to begin with, and the framing of the game is going inherently to be a little bit repetitive. I think they've done a really good job working around that, knowing that that's going to be the case. And so I don't know, I'm just very impressed, because I think when this game was first announced, I was like, yes, I'm such a huge Mii fan. I'm so excited for this game. But then like as it got closer to release, I was like, I don't know, am I going to enjoy this game? Is it going to be repetitive? But then here it is, it's out, and I've sunk 20 hours into it easily, like over the weekend since it came out. So it's like, I don't know. I've been very, very impressed by all that. So if that's been something that's been worrying you about this game and you're listening to it, I definitely say go for it. You will have a lot of fun. Maybe we could talk a little bit about kind of the visuals, the aesthetic, the music. I mean, this is a Switch 1 game, which is, I think, something that a lot of people don't realize, actually. I think a lot of people were like, I don't have a Switch 2, I can't get it. And it's like, no, it's a Switch 1 game. It's got a huge user base, right? So I think that's really, really excellent. What do we think just about kind of the aesthetics, sound design, visual design, all of that stuff?
One thing that kind of stood out to me, I don't know if y'all agree, but whenever I saw the menus, immediately I was like, these menus are Animal Crossing style menus. It is big blobby circle that's rounded edges, maybe a little oblong, a fun pattern, maybe moving around, and then big circle buttons, very inviting.
Bocopia had those
very
too.
Animal Crossing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right. And also, I said it before, but I'll say it till the cows come home. It is such a funny little detail when you see a me, which, as you said, it looks like a toy. It is such a cartoon little critter
Mm-hmm.
paired with a photorealistic bowl of spaghetti. Like, that's so funny. They do it all the time. They do the joke a million times where, like, you'll see like one time a penguin stole a baguette from one of my Mii's. And it's just an actual photo of an actual penguin. And it's just so good. I love the aesthetic. It's so fun, and for lack of a better term, relatively risky. You know what I mean? It's not the like new Super Mario Brothers, Nintendo polished within an inch of its life.
Right.
Completely like it. There's personality there, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, and the modders are having a field day with this game right now. I'm kind of jealous of all the people that are playing like on emulated on PC or on modded Switches, because there's like a PC tool that lets you just import any PNG into the game, and just so it's like all the customization like is made even easier on PC, right? So I've been very jealous of those people, but maybe who knows? We'll see what happens in the future. But Tris, what about you? Kind of just the visuals and audio of this game. Like, what's been tickling you so far?
I really love how it's like largely that cartoony art style, but like Garrett, as you mentioned, you have like the photorealistic food and animals, but like it's uncanny in a humorous way. It's uncanny in the same way if you were watching like a cartoon and they did a bit of like, oops, we turned into real people, or hyper realistic designs for 30 seconds. Oh God, turn it off. Like it's something funny like that, and it's played for comedy in a way that makes it silly. Like one of the first treasures I got was a photorealistic capybara. I was like, okay, I'll just give that to my friend. And almost every time I boot the game up, he's walking around the town, walking it. So you see it like hopping around next to him, and it makes little like chirping noises. I'm like, I don't think that's what a real capybara sounds like, but it's funny.
I gave Linda McCartney a hedgehog, and she was like,
so cool.
She's like, I don't think I like this, but still, every day she's playing with the fucking thing. So jokes on you, Linda. I guess you do.
Well, you may not like it, but I know you do.
There are many like it, but this one is mine.
No, but I think it works really well for it. It works for the identity of the game and how silly it is. To have those elements to it, and I really enjoy how it comes together to just create an experience where you were just constantly smiling, whether it's because you're laughing or it just makes you happy, like seeing, oh yeah, like I'm raising the happiness I found the item they wanted, kind of thing. There's just a lot of little things that the visuals help so much to it. There's a lot of visual feedback to a lot of it that makes it really nice. And
that's right.
You mentioned the menus too being like just like out of like Animal Crossing and Bocopia, and I'm sure there's like some degree of like UI design in there where if you're trying to make a cozy game and invoking certain feelings, you want menus and buttons that have this kind of shape, this subtle movement and things like that, these colors. I'm sure it all comes down to that, because I can't think of many Nintendo games where they have come out and said they have spent 9 years making the game. Like how many times they've said how long they've actually worked on the game. This is probably more polished than most Nintendo games that come out.
Yeah, with all the things that could possibly happen in it. Like they must have play tested the shit out of this thing.
Yeah. Like I think they said in interviews the user generated content alone took them like 6 years to like get everything down and feel perfect. Like I can't think of many other Nintendo games that would have had the time to be this degree of polished. Yeah, there's dozens of Nintendo games you could say are so polished. Like look at any game by Masahiro Sakurai. Yeah. Those are so
also
polished.
Has PNGs of food.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's really what it is.
True.
But like, all that polish and all that like fine tuning were done in the last like 3 months before release, kind of thing. Like they're down to the wire with how much work goes into those. This kind of game had so much time to breathe, considering they started work like right after the mobile app Miitomo like died down or like
R.I.P.
slowed down. Like that's crazy, actually.
Yeah, it's totally nuts. I love the visual aesthetic of it. It's just so fun and good to look at. It's great that they unlocked the resolution for handheld mode. So when you're playing on Switch 2, it's a crisp 1080 and handheld. That's huge. It does make my battery die a little bit quicker, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's fine. I love the music in the game. I love the romance song. It makes me laugh every fucking time. It's like an early 90s like R&B like song. It just is so funny. I wish that would play in real life whenever I had a crush.
It's so funny when you tell them it's like it's just their imagination or something.
Yeah.
And like the music dies down.
It's
like, the music like falls down the stairs.
I also love whenever they have an interaction and they're like worried if they're going to connect or not. And then they do connect and the game's like, it went great. Like, I just think it went great is really funny language. But there's so much we could still talk about. We do kind of need to start wrapping it up here. I do think we need to talk about some of the faults with this game, right? And obviously we've been keeping praise on it. This is an easy recommend for me. Obviously know what you're getting into, but there are definitely some downsides to this game. I think that there are a lot of missing features that people have been complaining about from the first game. I think namely the concert hall, the rap battles. There's a bunch of little things that they had that gave the first game a lot of personality that I feel like the customization options have kind of replaced in this game. The New Horizonsification of this game kind of took the place of some of that just crazy quirkiness that you saw in the last one. I know, Tris, you played the original. What do you think about that? Are the missing features a big deal to you?
So I don't mind that some of those features are missing, because the way I look at it is that's what helps this game be very different.
Right.
I think if there was too many of those things back again, I do feel like, as someone who put 200 hours into the 3DS game, I feel like I might have gotten tired of this game faster.
It'd be even more repetitive.
Yeah, it would have, because I would have been like recalling, like experiencing these things all the time back then. Like the rap battles were fun, but I kind of, and like the music hall stuff was fun, but like only for like the first like 10, maybe 20 hours kind of thing. Like once you really start putting a lot of time in, I didn't engage with those aspects of it that much. So I don't miss them that much here. I think, yes, more options would be better in general. That's just always the case for a lot of these things. The more the merrier. And it doesn't necessarily feel good when you see, something that was part of this game before what isn't here in the next game. There's that removing part of the identity. I think the core identity of this game is still here enough that specific features being missing isn't that big. It's not a deal breaker to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with all that, and I think it's nice that this game has a bit of its own identity. And as somebody that didn't really play the 3DS game, I'm not aware of anything it's missing other than what I read online, and I'm just like, I don't know about you guys, I'm having a great time, right? But let's talk about the lack of sharing features, because I think that's been the biggest deal breaker for a lot of people. It's the IGN review, which was Logan Plant, who I actually really enjoy most of his reviews, and I tend to really agree with a lot of what he says. I think it took like the 3 whole points off of the score, basically, was just the lack of sharing features. It was seemingly the only negative thing that Logan had to say about this. And it is a big deal, and I'm finding it now. Like, I've been playing a lot with my friend Carrie, and by that I mean Carrie lives in her house, which is way up north, and I live here. And so we're just, taking pictures of our screens basically and sharing stuff. But it's like, man, I wish I could share Mii's with Carrie, because, she wants my Zoran. I want her Hassan Piker. We've got like we're both building like communist coalitions right now. And it'd be really great if we could like easily like share some of those characters. Right. So I find that definitely to be annoying. You do have to think that it's the price that we're paying for literally being able to do whatever you want and draw whatever you want and have them say whatever you want with no swear filter. What do you guys think about it? Is it a deal breaker to you?
Certainly, I wouldn't say a deal breaker, but one of those classic no-brainers. And it's so strange because I feel like so much of the Mii's are, you'd think that'd be the simplest multiplayer integration ever. And it doesn't even have to be an Animal Crossing scenario where you visit their island and you get the whole world downloaded. But exporting a Mii, that's just ones and zeros, baby.
Yeah, and Miitopia did it already on the Switch.
What's even weirder, you can through local play.
Right.
Which is, so there's a system for it. You connect to another console, you do local play, you can transfer, like basically copy and send it to the other console that you're connecting to, either a Mii or anything you've created in the Palette House. So there is a sharing system that for some reason is only restricted to playing locally. And I understand the idea of, well, we didn't put in sensors, so we don't want people, we don't want kids typing fuck and screenshotting that and putting it all over social media. Like they know people are going to do it anyway, but they can minimize the amount of people, the amount of people that are saying, wow, they let me do this in a Nintendo game on social media. It helps them a little bit to minimize that. I understand the mindset there. Same kind of thing with the amount of freedom you have for drawing on the Miis. You probably want to reduce the amount of people that are just going to draw inappropriate things on the Mii faces and sharing them. But
with a kid or something. Surely
you could do like connecting over game share. You can send them in the same way as local play.
Well,
like
why
not?
That's a really good point, Tris. And I think that, there's a lot of features that I think this game would really benefit from a Switch 2 version of. I think like mouse controls being the super obvious one for all your designs, and even just menus and just navigating the island would feel very natural with a mouse, right? And so I think that could be huge. Game share, as you've said, game chat as well. Just working on stuff, sharing your screen with somebody else and getting inspiration for something that you want to make. It would work really well over Switch 2. So maybe there is a chance that we'll get some of these features added in with the Switch 2 version. Do you think that is possible, Garrett? Do you see that happening at all?
I mean, I think it's worth saying. I know we've said Animal Crossing like 1,000 times, but it is so interesting to look at this as following a type of formula that Animal Crossing already went through earlier in the year, where you consider big 3DS game, beloved 3DS game. They make the Switch title and way more people are playing it, but they've taken out a ton of key features that fans of the series really liked from the 3DS title. I would not be surprised at all if, in the same way we got that, I think it was Happy Home Paradise thing, or I would not be surprised if we get something similar where it is packaging extra things like the concert hall, maybe like shareable Miis. They put it in, it's this big update. Maybe it's part of NSO. Maybe it's a separate thing.
Yeah. Remember when they used to give us free DLC on NSO? That was nice.
I think right now it appears to me, I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of doing the proven track record of how Animal Crossing's rollout worked. Because they were adding a lot of quality of life updates and stuff like that, even a couple of years after launch.
Well, if they've been done with the base game for a year, maybe that's what they've been working on for the last year is DLC, some sort of update to this, right? So that would not surprise me. I'd really love to see that. I don't know. Yeah, I think the most annoying thing to me is that people are obviously going to share this anyway, and I think it's just like the problem is now people are taking shitty cell phone pictures of their screens. And that's how I'm seeing all this stuff. And it's just like, I just wish it was higher quality, Like I know for me personally, pretty much what I'm doing is every night I'm taking the SD card out of my Switch and I'm doing a dump of all my Tomodachi Life stuff into a folder that's on my computer. You know what I mean? That's my nightly routine now is I'm just like back, because I'm taking so many screenshots that I want to share. And it's like, I don't want to take pictures of them. You know what I mean? So it's like, so there definitely are ways you can share. You just can't use the nice upload to your smart device feature or whatever, right? Which is definitely a bit of friction that people are just going to be getting around anyway. So I definitely understand the complaints there. I think if this is what it costs to truly have no filter and really be able to do whatever you want, I do think it's probably worth it. Because
I agree.
Because at the end of the day, I'm still sharing my silly Beatles photos with my friends, but it's like, it's definitely annoying and I'd love to see them fix it if they possibly could. Well, I think we should pretty much wrap it up here. Is there any little last minute things that any of y'all had on your mind about this game that we didn't get to before we move on to the last segment of the show here?
Sure. One thing that I think is interesting to note is that this is going to be, who can say what the sales numbers are going to be or whatever, but I think that this is a very easily catch-onable game because a lot of streamers are playing this game.
Mhm.
Like, this is immediately a hit with streamers.
Perfect stream game.
Not only can you make a me of people in chat, or you can have chat make a me for you. Like, there's a lot of things you can do that are very, interchangeable with an audience streaming. And that is like catches like fire, because then people are seeing the people that they're watching play it. They want to play it, rinse and repeat. In a way that I think maybe something like a single player focused game might not exactly get the same. Well, that's funny. I just said single player focus. We just talked about that does the multiplayer, but you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's really catching on right now with streamers, it seems.
Totally. Yeah. I think hopefully this brings back excitement for me's as well. Like I would love for me's to get added back into Mario Kart World. I'd love Woohoo Island to be, an island off the coast of the Mario Kart World island for some updates or something like that. I think I don't know. I've just been such a huge fan of these characters, and it's really nice to see them brought back. I hope to see a lot more of them in the future. What about you, Tris? Is there anything, last thoughts you want to throw in before we move on?
I think what surprises me most about this game is that they really did do so much of that customization, and like really gave you the ability to edit so much with the me, so much more than the small steps we had with any other one. Like, the 3DS and Wii U editor are like a little bit bigger than what the Wii had, and Miitomo was, and then Miitopia was. This is such a far leap ahead of those that I really hope, if Mii's truly are back beyond this game, and we know that feeling may only be because it just took them so long to make this game. I really hope we see this be the definitive editor going forward. It doesn't need the face paint all the time if they really don't want to have that all the time. But like the core features that are there, like just the light shine in the eye, for example, as we were talking about earlier.
Huge.
All those like core Mii features, like if they can add in like an OS update to the Switch, and Switch 2 to have its Mii editor be identical, that would be phenomenal going forward. Because I think it would have people be a lot more excited for their Miis to have consistency across games.
It'd also be nice if I was able to take the Miis that I've made in Tomodachi Life and save them onto Amiibo or to my system. You know what I mean? Because right now, like say I grab a Mii from Miitopia and end up saving that to my system, upload that to Tomodachi Life, it's going to lose all the features that were on that Mii over there. So I think that would be something that would be really nice for them to add in. I just think the sky's the limit with this game, and I really, really, really do hope that it is as big as a success as it seems right now. I'd love next week on the podcast to be like Nintendo has said that this game has already sold 1 million copies, in the first week. It really feels like that. It's also very potentially the last physical Switch game, or I guess is Rhythm Heaven also coming physical to the Switch?
I believe it is.
Okay, well maybe this is maybe one of the last Switch 1 exclusives. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, so that's really interesting to see, and I really hope that because it has such a huge install base on the Switch, that it sells really well, and I hope to see more games like this in the future. Really fun stuff. That is A+ recommendation from Switch Heads for Tomodachi Life. Go check it out. Live the dream yourself if this sounds interesting to you. But we're going to take one last small little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk all about the games that we've been playing recently. So I mostly really have been playing Tomodachi Life. I don't have a ton more to add. I think I might have been playing some other games, but the only one that really stood out to me that I have been trying was a recent drop on NSO, and this was Mendel Palace. This is an NES game that was Game Freak's first ever game. When we saw this last time, it was like, oh, this looks like a UFO 50 game. It really reminded me quite a bit of Magic Garden from UFO 50, but it's a very fun kind of top-down. I want to say it's kind of a puzzler, but it's definitely an action-based game. You've got these levels and you're going through, and you've got these tiles that are on the floor that you flip, and you're trying to push the enemies into the walls to kill them. And I don't know, it's just got a ton of charm. And I think for the NES and the Famicom back in the day, like the graphics are really, really good, and you could already see a lot of that, Satoshi art style, showing up that you would eventually then later see in Pokemon, right? And so, this is, it's not going to be for everybody, and it's definitely, it's pick up and play. It's a little bit high score chasing, but I could see myself actually going back and playing this game quite a bit as somebody who really enjoys action games and old school games. I was having more fun with this than I was expecting. So it's all on your Switches now for free if you have an NSO subscription. So check out Mendel Palace. I really enjoyed that one. What about you, Garrett? What have you been playing recently?
Sure. I know, Tris, you were talking, when we were talking about the movie, you were talking about how Zelda is your favorite franchise of all time. And ditto, absolute ditto. For me, I think my two big loves are Zelda and Castlevania. I love them both so much. And for a really long time, I was like, no brainer, I need to play every single Zelda game that's been released. And I've just been going at it again and again and again for the years. And now I am at Zelda 2 for the NES. And I've been avoiding this one intentionally for a very long time because I played it a couple of times on my 2DS way back in college. And I just was hitting a wall. I was frustrated.
Yeah.
The game overs happen so fast and you reset to the same spot. It was very, pushed me off of it immediately. And so then I played a bunch of other Zelda games, and I just recently finished Phantom Hourglass. And I was like looking at the list, and it's getting thin. I have a lot of the spin-off stuff like Hyrule Warriors to play through. But in terms of the big boys, it's pretty much Spirit Tracks, Minish Cap, and Zelda 2 for the NES. So I was like, I want to have a fun game to play after Zelda 2. And I am playing it on my phone emulator, on the Delta emulator. And this is a little shout out. This thing called the Pocket Taco.
Oh, you got one of those.
I got the Pocket Taco by GameSir. Highly recommend. Super simple. It just slides right on your phone. And then you just play it. That's kind of sexy. Buttons.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's like $35, so it's not even going to break the bank.
Yeah. Using Delta?
Delta emulator, Zelda NES. And
cool.
I got to say, now that I'm at the right past the third palace, it's actually pretty good. It's hard and it makes me very frustrated, but there's a lot of really, really cool, interesting gameplay things that I'm so surprised they didn't come back to. And genuinely, the like leveling system is compelling.
It's the last time Zelda was an RPG. Really.
It's so strange. And so now that I'm like fully in it, it's got its hooks into me. I'm like taking the good with the bad and realizing that there is like the spell system. There's like so much in Zelda 2 that is very much worth replaying and revisiting. And as I said earlier, it's the more I'm playing it, I'm like, this is a Castlevania game. This is specifically
very
like
much
the Symphony of the Night post Game Boy Advance Castlevania games where you are leveling up, you are getting new items, the side-scrolling aspect of it is so reminiscent of more of an NES Castlevania title. So I'm actually really, really enjoying it. Yeah,
that's
Zelda
great.
2,
This I think I'm excited if we are getting that Ocarina of Time remake, but I think, man, Grezzo would kill a Zelda 2 remake. And I think that out of all the Zelda games, it's the one that needs it the most, right? But anyway.
I agree.
Yeah. Tris, what about you? You been playing anything this week other than Tomodachi Life?
Other than Tomodachi Life, every now and then I've been making sure to boot up Pokemon Champions since that came out. My best friend's like really big into like competitive Pokemon's been like really encouraging me to make a competitive team ever since Scarlet and Violet came out years ago. That's kind of been like my real entry point to like trying to actually do Pokemon battles that aren't just against like the computers to get through the game. And it's been certainly going. I am not very good at it yet. Sure. I've only really been doing double battles because that's what he's been teaching me a lot of. And I'm still like really getting through the nitty gritty of like trying to build a good team that is also a team of Pokemon I like, because I don't want to just jump right into going with the meta or all the Pokemon that are good.
Right.
Well, where's the fun in that? I want to build a team that works with Pokemon I like as well. But I have to strike a balance because otherwise I lose every round that isn't against a computer. So I'm not very good at it yet, but it's been entertaining to have a Pokemon system that's actually so easy to get into for someone who's never really done competitive stuff. Someone who really struggled to figure out everything with like the perfect IVs and EVs and other Pokemon games. This makes it very easy to go through all that and to try things out. So it's been good fun to try a different facet of Pokemon that I've been exposed to a lot over the years, but never quite dove into myself.
That's good to hear. I'm glad at least you're enjoying it. I know there's just been so much negativity around, not just Pokemon Champions, but just Pokemon in general recently. But yeah.
I can't say it's not undeserved for some of the negativity, specifically Champions, but I do think Pokemon's one of those IPs I think people really zero in on, like, with a negative lens more than a positive lens, more often than not.
Yeah, when something's super popular, it tends to be that way, I suppose. Maybe in that way, I hope Tomodachi Life stays underground. No, I'm just kidding.
Stays just popular enough.
Exactly, yeah, that critical, I think that's called a Lagrange point for all my orbital mechanics heads. But I think that one was just for me. That is gonna do it, I think, for our show this week. Thank you so much, Garrett. Thank you so much, Tris, for both coming on this episode. It was such a delight to have you both on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's so much fun.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been great.
Great time. I'd love to have you both back again sometime. Thank you very much to MilkyWay.co for doing our website. Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. Thanks to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to find me on the internet, I'm pretty much everywhere at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Tris? Where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on most places at Toontress, mostly on YouTube doing all of my Nintendo-related video content.
Very cool, very cool. Very good Blue Sky follow over there, the Toontress. And what about you, Garrett? Where can people find you online?
You can see a lot of my comedy stuff up on YouTube, and that's just at Garrett Us, B-U-S-S is my last name. And on Instagram at Garrett Bus is my name.
Very good. And yeah, if you're in the LA area, definitely don't miss out on the new play that Garrett is in. And also, you're still doing stand-up all the time, right?
All the time, constantly. I have a monthly show called Daddy Strong Legs.
Every
first Thursday in Los Angeles at the Pack Theater.
Awesome. Great stuff. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite comics from Austin here, and it's really great to see that you're doing well out in LA as well. We'll be sure to have you back on the show again very soon. If you like to find our show on social media, we are at Switchheads on Blue Sky and Twitter, at Super Switchheads on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We have a website that's switchheads.com. And then, like I said before, we have a Patreon if you'd like to chuck in a couple bucks. Nobody's going to stop you. We have a Facebook group and a Discord. Please, if nothing else, join us on the Discord. It's such a wonderful community of like-minded, non-toxic gamers. You can talk about the topics of the show in more detail afterwards, get together and play games with friends, all that kind of stuff. And a robust politics channel as well. We get into a lot of what is going on in the world from a sensible perspective. We would love to have you join us on the Discord. But yeah, man, what a show. What a savings. That's going to do it. We're going to be back next week with another banger, so don't touch that dial. But until then, you guys know the drill. Be safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Make yourself as a me. Have your me hook up with as many people as possible on your island. You've only got one life to live. Fuck ice. Free Palestine. We love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.